On behalf of His Majesty the Sultan, His Highness Sayyid Asad bin Tariq Al Said heads to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia tomorrow to lead the Sultan of Oman's delegation into the Gulf US Summit. The total cost exceeding 258 million Oman riyals, 3 agreements to implement the third, fourth and fifth sections of the dualization of Sultan Saeed bin Taimur Road is signed. And the Petroleum Development Oman PDO signs 14 agreements worth more than 4 million Omani riyals to finance several social investment projects. Those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty the Sultan Haitham bin Tariq sent cable of greetings to His Excellency President Santiago Pena of the Republic of Paraguay on the occasion of his country's National Day. On behalf of His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq, His Highness Sayyid Asad bin Tariq Al Said, Deputy Prime Minister for International Relations and Cooperation Affairs and Special Representative of His Majesty the Sultan, will head to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to lead the Sultanate of Oman's delegation to the Gulf US Summit between the Gulf Cooperation Council GCC countries and the United States of America, due to be held tomorrow, Wednesday, in the Saudi capital, Riyadh. His Highness Sayyid Asad will be accompanied by an official delegation comprising His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad Al Busaidi, Foreign Minister, His Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Muhammad Al Saidi, Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs, His Excellency Dr. Said bin Muhammad Al Saqri, Minister of Economy, and the Excellency the Secretary General and the advisor at His Highness's office. At a total cost exceeding 258 million Oman riyals, the Ministry of Transport, Communications and Information Technology signed 3 agreements to implement the third, fourth and fifth sections of the dualization of Sultan Saeed bin Taimur Road. The first agreement covers the implementation of the dualization of the third section of the Sultan Saeed bin Taimur Road, extending over 132 kilometers from Wilaya of Hema to Wilaya of Makhshan. The second agreement covers the implementation of the dualization of the fourth section of Sultan Saeed bin Taimur Road, extending over 135 kilometers from Wilaya of Makhshan to the Duka area. The third agreement covers the dualization of the fifth section of the Sultan Saeed bin Taimur Road, extending over 132 kilometers from the Duka area to the Wilaya of Thamreit. The agreements were signed on behalf of the Ministry by His Excellency Engineer Saeed bin Hamoud Al Maouli, Minister of Transport, Communications and Information Technology. His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed Al Namani, Minister of the Royal Office, received His Excellency Christopher Franob, the European Union's non-resident ambassador to the Sultanate of Oman. During the meeting, cordial talks were exchanged and several topics of mutual interest were reviewed. His Excellency the Ambassador expressed his appreciation for the Sultanate of Oman's steadfast position in finding solutions through dialogue and peace, stressing the importance to strengthen aspects of cooperation between the Sultanate of Oman and the European Union. Vice Admiral Abdullah bin Khamis Al-Raisi, Chief of Staff of the Sultan's Armed Forces, received today at his office in Muaskar al-Murtafa Major General Hamdan bin Ahmed Al-Zuwaidi, head of the Authority of the Military Operations and Strategic Planning of the United Arab Emirates, and his accompanying military delegation. During the meeting, both sides exchanged points of view and discussed several military issues of mutual interest. Petroleum Development Oman PDO signed 14 agreements worth more than 4 million Omani riyals to finance several social investment projects in the education, health and community development sectors, and we have a report on that.
Oman Sustainability Week and the 25th Oman Petroleum and Energy Exhibition and Conference saw the signing of a number of agreements. Petroleum Development Oman signed 14 agreements to finance a number of community projects with a total value of over 4 million Omani riyals in several sectors such as education, health, environment, water, and infrastructure development.
Today's signing actually represents PDO's commitment towards social investments and towards society. Today we have signed around 14 agreements with different entities, governments and private sectors as well. And these of course come with some of them they come co-funded by other entities.
A number of Omani companies are participating in the activities of the week, showcasing their experiences and projects in the field of energy sustainability, as well as exchanging knowledge, stimulating innovation, and building strategic partnerships that contribute to the development of national capabilities and enhance the resilience of the national economy.
Many of these projects today will actually help find jobs for Omanis, and some of them are dedicated for women. Today we have signed an extension for every hospital, for instance, and a health center in Andat in Dhafar, as well as a couple of projects where people will be able to work and produce products they can sell and benefit from them.
The Oman Petroleum and Energy Conference and Exhibition and Oman Sustainability Week are national events that highlight Oman's continued commitment to promoting sustainable energy and the green circular economy, balancing innovation, economic growth, and environmental preservation in line with the Sultanate's vision of achieving zero carbon neutrality.
In order to enhance cooperation for sustainable development, the Environment Authority and the Japanese Ministry of Environment signed a memorandum of cooperation on environmental matters. The memorandum signed in Muscat aims to enhance scientific research, mitigate and adapt to the effects of the climate change, waste management, biodiversity conservation as nature-based solutions, and environmental monitoring. It also aims to accelerate the implementation of multilateral environmental agreements, such as the Paris Agreement, and establish a framework for cooperation between the two sides based on equality, reciprocity, and mutual benefit. The memorandum was signed by His Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Ali Al-Amri, Chairman of the Environmental Authority, and His Excellency Matsuozawa Yutaka, Vice Minister of the Environment for Global Environmental Affairs in Japan. The Sultan of Oman took part in the 28th meeting of the GCC Information Ministers in the State of Kuwait. The meeting discussed several topics aimed at enhancing and developing media cooperation among GCC states, including joint media efforts, proposed initiatives, and projects for the GCC Strategic Media Cooperation Plan 2023-2030 submitted by member states. It also discussed the age classification of electronic games, guidelines and regulations for Gulf media production, strengthening media partnerships with the regional and international organizations, initiatives for employing artificial intelligence in media production, Gulf media leadership training programs, and reinforcing the media role in supporting family and social cohesion. During the meeting, the pilot version of the joint electronic application for GCC News Agency was launched, and the Sultan of Oman's delegation was headed by His Excellency Mohammed bin Saif Al Blushi, Under Secretary of the Ministry of Information. Still to come on News Bulletin. The 8th Student Conference at the University of Nizwa discusses the role of student advisory councils in developing the higher education environment. President Donald Trump and the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the de facto ruler, shook hands and signed an economic agreement between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia in Trump's first stop on his Middle East visit. The leaders then watched as members of the Trump cabinet and the Saudi government exchanged folios and shook heads over a number of contracts between the two countries. The agreement include energy cooperation, modernizing the Saudi armed forces, judicial cooperation between the Justice Ministry and the Saudi Judiciary, assistance between customs authorities, and collaboration between the Smithsonian Museum and Saudi institutions. The two leaders spoke with the executives during the reception held for the U.S. President at the start of his four-day visit to the Gulf region. The U.S. and Gulf Cooperation Council states will hold a summit in Riyadh tomorrow during Trump's visit. The UN World Health Organization, WHO, said today the aid relief of Gaza malnourished children are dying while survivors can expect a lifetime of dire health problems, according to the Ministry of Health. Since the aid blockade began on 2nd of March, 57 children have reportedly died from the effects of malnutrition. The situation persists. Nearly 71,000 children under the age of 5 are expected to be acutely malnourished over the next 11 months. Briefing journalists in Geneva, WHO's representatives in the occupied Palestinian territory, Dr. Rick Pippercorn, said that total Israel's complete aid embargo has left only enough WHO supplies to treat 500 children with acute malnutrition, a fraction of the urgent need, warning that people are trapped in this cycle where a lack of diversified food, malnutrition, and disease fuel each other. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky said today that he would be waiting for Russian counterpart President Vladimir Putin in the Turkish capital this week to conduct face-to-face talks about the more than 3-year war amid heavy pressure from the US and European leaders to reach a settlement. President Putin hasn't yet said whether he will be on the talks, which US President Donald Trump has urged the two sides to attend as part of Washington's efforts to stop fighting. Zelensky told reporters in Kyiv that he will be in Ankara on Thursday to conduct the negotiations, adding that he will meet with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and the two will wait for Putin to arrive. Zelensky said that he would face or do everything to agree on ceasefire because it is with Putin that must negotiate ceasefire. Only he can decide on it. Back here in the Sultan, as part of the efforts of the Harness Emerging Technologies, the Global College of Engineering and Technology organized a summit titled Artificial Intelligence for the Internet of Things, which focused on addressing cybersecurity challenges. The summit showcased the latest smart applications that integrate artificial intelligence through the Internet of Things. Experts and participants issued innovative solutions and the growing importance of securing digital ecosystems. The event was inaugurated under the patronage of His Excellency Dr. Saif bin Abdullah Al-Haddabi, Under Secretary of the Ministry of Higher Education, Research and Innovation for Scientific Research and Innovation. In a landmark move to empower Omani leaders, the Oman Society for Human Resources Management has partnered with London Business School to deliver world-class executive programs tailored to the nation's leadership needs, reinforcing the goals of Oman Vision 2040. More in the following report.
In a bold stride towards leadership excellence, the Oman Society for Human Resources Management, OSHRAM, has launched a strategic partnership with the prestigious London Business School, LBS, marking a significant milestone in Oman's leadership development journey. Unveiled at an exclusive executive roundtable attended by senior executives, key decision makers, and alumni of the LBS Oman chapter, the partnership blends global executive education with local insights to build a new cadre of agile, future-ready leaders.
We focused on two particular topics in this event with the business people in Oman. One is the adoption of AI and the challenges that are associated with the AI and understanding of AI. Second, the challenges of maintaining, keeping, and developing the talent in any organization.
Through this collaboration, OSHRAM and LBS will deliver world-class programs both in Oman and London, focusing on strategic leadership, human resources transformation, high-performance people capabilities, and women in leadership.
I think this is really an exciting opportunity between OSHRAM and the London Business School. In fact, one of the 4 pillars of Oman Vision 2040 is people and society. And having these kind of partnerships is not just good for society, but it's also good economically as well for any country. Because at the end of the day, education is the driver of many economies.
Dr. Ghalib Al-Hosni, OSHRAM chairman, noted, "We are not just importing global expertise, we are tailoring it to meet Oman's unique leadership challenges." OSHRAM's Director of Training and Development highlighted how global best practices harmonize with Omani context, directly advancing the ambitions of Vision 2040. This partnership isn't just a step forward, it's a leap towards a smarter, more empowered leadership landscape in the Sultanate of Oman. By uniting efforts, this collaboration accelerates OSHRAM's Vision 2040 mission, shaping leaders who are tomorrow-ready, global-minded, and proudly rooted in Omani heritage. Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
Nizwa University hosted the 8th Student Conference held under the theme Students' Advisory Councils at the forefront of higher education institutions' priorities. The gathering saw active participation from students representing public and private universities and colleges across the country. Throughout the event, attendees discussed 7 working papers, each focusing on the growing role of student advisory councils, the snapping the academic environment. These papers explained how such councils can strengthen communication with university administration, support decisions making, and foster a more engaging and responsive higher education experience. The conference reaffirmed the importance of placing student voice at the heart of the institutional development. Work has already started at the Dakhiliyah Boulevard project in the Wilayah of Nizwa, led by the Governorate of Dakhiliyah. This major development aims to drive economic growth, support social development, and boost tourism across the region. Here is a report on that.
In Nizwa, groundwork is underway on a major new development, the Dakhiliyah Boulevard Square. Backed by the Governorate of Dakhiliyah, the project spans 145,000 square meters, with a total investment exceeding 8.3 million Oman riyals, marking a significant step in reshaping the urban and economic future of the region.
We ensured that this project meets the highest technical standards in terms of infrastructure and facilities. This includes the construction of a protective concrete wall along the boulevard, reaching a depth of 3 meters aligned with street level.
The boulevard is part of the Governorate's broader vision for sustainable development. It is expected to welcome around 150,000 visitors each year, generate over 140,000 riyals in annual revenue, and create 380 direct job opportunities. With its strategic location and multi-use design, the project is poised to become a key destination and a new economic drive for the Dakhiliyah Governorate.
The project has social, economic and tourism dimensions and has a strategic location next to Nizwa Gate and near to the vital tourist locations in Nizwa. In addition, it aimed to create an urban, attractive environment that meets the aspiration of the communities, visitors and investors.
With completion expected in early 2027, the Boulevard project also supports national goals, with 15% of contracts awarded to small and medium enterprises, while 60% of materials and services sourced locally. Once complete, this strategic project will stand as a long-term investment in the economy of Dakhiliyah, creating jobs, boosting tourism, and unlocking new horizons for local businesses. Reporting from the Wilaya of Nizwa, this is Saleh Bukhalfan al-Rahbi, Dakhiliyah Governorate.
You're watching the Sounds of Oman television. Before tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. On behalf of His Majesty the Sultan, His Highness Sayyid Asad bin Tariq Al Said heads to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia tomorrow to lead the Sultan of Oman's delegation into the Gulf U.S. Summit. At a total cost exceeding 258 million Omani riyals, 3 agreements to implement the 3rd, 4th and 5th sections of the dualization of Sultan Said bin Taimur Road is signed. And Petroleum Development of Oman PDO signs 14 agreements worth more than 4 million Omani riyals to finance several social investment projects. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all the crew here and myself, Suhail Al-Kindi, thanks for your time. Good night.